February is Black History Month. And I thought I would do a few podcasts this month and see if we can learn some things from African American history. I want to start here on February 1st with the Reconstruction era. You got to realize this is the day after they got their freedom from slavery. And in many ways, it was tougher to live in that time than it was as slaves. I promise you the discrimination and racism was worse. The crime, the violence, lynchings, and the rest, worse during this time than even when they were slaves. I mean, it was tough, and they had nothing to start with. And if you think whites had lined up to help them out, give them aid, show them grace, no, that wasn't there. So how did they do this? Well, they focused on three things that we should focus on the same way in our day. And I mean, they had a laser focus. Number one was reuniting their families. You see, these slave owners, some discouraged families among their slaves, and so they'd sell off family members. I mean, it was terrible and wouldn't tell them where they went. So again, like incredible tactics were used to find these lost family members all over the country. And again, they had no money, no way to get around. But they did it. Within just a short period at the end of the Civil War, over 50% of African-American families were reunited. That's incredible. You know what's crazy? That's a greater percentage than we see among families today. Plus, their family was the traditional family. We can't even define that anymore today. For them, it was a man, it was a woman loving each other and having babies. The traditional family. That should be the focus. It's not today. Second thing they focused on, and again with a laser focus, was establishing churches. And this was not just for faith and religion. This became the center of their communities, a place for support and true strength apart from the family. Today, again, man, people are leaving churches like crazy. Then you have the press, universities, Washington, bureaucrats, Hollywood, that's doing everything they can to diminish the influence of the church, to take that strength away from people. And lastly, the third laser focus for these former slaves was education. And again, I am not talking about the education that we hear about today, about diversity, tolerance, CRT, and the rest. They wanted to do one thing, and that is learn to read. 90% of the slaves, once they were freed, 90% could not read or write. It's kind of funny when they established schools everywhere, many in the churches, of course. Many were just outside because they had no buildings. But it's funny because in a first grade class, you would have the traditional 6-year-old, but then you'd also have 60-year-olds. They were desperate to learn. They really believed that you can't truly experience freedom without education. Reading, writing, comprehending, putting your thoughts down on paper, being able to sign your name. Today again, wow, everything is our focus in education except reading and writing. No question we can learn from this, and I wish America would come back to its roots even at the time of the Reconstruction era.